Close to Armageddon, does the nuclear balance limit the nuclear weapons of Russia and the United States? Will the Russian-Ukraine conflict really turn into a nuclear war? Since the outbreak of war in Ukraine, the Western alliance has imposed sweeping sanctions against Russia on a scale that far exceeded Russian President Vladimir Putin's expectations. Intent on showing that he is still in charge of the great power, Putin has put Russia's nuclear deterrent forces on high alert. In fact, on the same day that Russia's invasion of Ukraine began, Putin issued a warning. Anyone who tries to stand in our way or create threats to our country and people should know that Russia's response, it will be immediate and lead you to consequences that you have never faced in your history, he said. Recently, Putin again signaled the use of nuclear deterrence to demonstrate that he is ready to protect Russia's territorial integrity using nuclear weapons. Even Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky told CBS News that he did not believe Vladimir Putin is bluffing about the nuclear threats and that a nuclear war could be a reality. In the past, Zelensky often said that when Russia threatened to use nuclear bombs to intimidate the world, it was just a bluff. Therefore, Zelensky's rhetoric this time has made many feel that nuclear war is imminent. Will the Russia-Ukraine conflict really turn into a nuclear war? Chang Kung, founder of the think tank Unbound, made a clear judgment about this in early March of this year. A nuclear war will not happen. Based on the theory of nuclear deterrence, he proposed the concept of nuclear balance and believed that such a balance actually limits the possibility of future nuclear wars. In the theory of nuclear war, nuclear deterrence means that the enormous power of nuclear weapons is used as a factor to prevent their actual use, that is, as a basis for negotiations. In the actual application of nuclear deterrence, leaders who are well prepared in their strategy would be less likely to intimidate others with nuclear weapons. However, Chang Kung believes that this theory is now outdated. The theory of nuclear deterrence was very popular after the birth of nuclear weapons. It's generally believed that deterrence is achieved mainly through two aspects, namely punishment and denial. Since the beginning of the new century, with the development of nuclear technology and the spread of nuclear weapons in the world, more and more countries began to possess nuclear weapons, which raises a question and challenges the value of the theory of nuclear deterrence. Chang Kung proposes the theory of nuclear balance. This includes mainly 2 points. First, it is the nuclear balance that prevents nuclear war, not any nuclear weapons agreement, nor the humanitarian motivation of the weapon-possessing nations. It is the fear of mutual destruction that creates the balance, and this has been the case for decades. Second, the nuclear balance emphasizes the balance of power. The nuclear balance emphasizes the balance of power. Only when different countries possess similar amounts of nuclear weapons could there be a balance. As for those countries with only dozens or hundreds of nuclear weapons, they are practically not very useful and can be destroyed at any time. As Chang Kung pointed out, that during the early stage of the war in March, Putin's actions are neither nuclear deterrence nor nuclear intimidation, but nuclear propaganda. The aim of this act of the Russian president was not the outside world, but to impress the Russian public. Therefore, it is a form of propaganda to protect his image as a strong man. Is there no danger of humanity facing a nuclear war? Regarding a possible Russian nuclear attack on Ukraine, Polish Foreign Minister Zbigniew Rau recently said in an interview on Polish radio RFM/FM that NATO would have a conventional response. Asked if NATO troops would enter Ukraine, Rau said he did not rule that out. However, he added that NATO can hit Russia with aircraft and missiles, but not necessarily launch them from Ukraine. At the same time, a retired U.S. general who still maintains close ties to the military also said a few days ago that the West's response to Russia's use of tactical nuclear weapons could include military intervention by NATO, such as establishing a no-go zone of flights in the Baltic Sea. For Chiang Kung, the responses from the West are neither strong nor reasonable enough to prevent the outbreak of a nuclear war. Instead, they may stimulate its actual outbreak. In fact, Chiang Kung has criticized the responses to nuclear war by cowardly and ignorant Western and American politicians, as well as amateur generals. Recently, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan warned Putin of catastrophic consequences if he uses nuclear weapons, but Sullivan did not describe the nature of the planned U.S. response. This kind of intimidating language, which is strong on the outside but weak on the inside, is probably too hard for a seasoned geopolitician like Putin to take seriously. In Chiang's view, these Western politicians are caught up in the challenges they face and are recklessly changing the rules of nuclear war. They promote the generalization of the use of nuclear weapons and try to lower the price of atomic chips so that more nations dare to take nuclear gambles. This will inevitably bring our world into an unprecedented, extremely dangerous situation. What the United States can do now is to act on the theory of nuclear balance. To prevent Putin from taking desperate risks, the United States must convince him that it will not tolerate Russia pressuring the nuclear war button. According to the theory of nuclear balance, whoever initiates a nuclear war first must take sole responsibility because this results in the imbalance of nuclear power. So the United States will have no choice if Russia starts a nuclear war. The counterattack will be overwhelming and all of Russia may be destroyed. When Russia is erased from the planet, world denuclearization will be restored and the state of nuclear balance will be achieved again. The United States tried to exterminate Russia, or to be more precise, the Soviet Union before. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, the United States almost launched nuclear missiles and deployed nuclear submarines and nuclear militia missiles, which was the closest Washington and Moscow came to nuclear conflict. We humans are never far from nuclear war and can be destroyed at any time. The world is now at a critical geopolitical moment, which is a decision-making technique. If politicians and related nuclear power actors do not have the courage to make professional responses to nuclear threats, it will only encourage the spread of nuclear war in this world. Only by understanding the use of a strong safety mechanism, such as nuclear balance, can we guarantee that the risk of a nuclear war is controlled, if not truly safe. This is by Pentapostagma. I've translated this for you from a Greek article. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.